Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of Football Gist on Footwit Football Channel. My name is Ehis Anthony, and on the show is my guys Biola representing Manchester United and Chimamaka. You know him as the ably represented Chelsea fan on Footwit Podcast. Biola had been on the show before once, but I just had to drag him out from his hole just for him to come out because we know the times we're in. Tomorrow, at the time of recording this, is the Europa League final between Manchester United and Tottenham Hotspur. As they call them on the street, two hideous twins, 16, 17, 17, 16, 16, 17. And looking at how appalling both teams are in the Premiership. But the good thing is the football law written, gives them soccer next season. Anyone who wants it the most will have a spot in the Champions League 2025-2026 season. Is it Manchester United? Is it Tottenham? You know I'm an Arsenal fan, so anything Tottenham, I push it to one side. But that's by the way. We're not talking Arsenal today. We want to talk Manchester United, Tottenham Hotspur. And also a little bit of sneak peek into the Conference League final, which is Chelsea versus what's the team they're facing? That team just
Robert.
Real
Real
Betis.
Betis. Thank you very much. Imagine I just had that mental block right now. But it's all good. Biola, let me allow you to have the show. Manchester United, Tottenham. Just give us your take. What do you think is going to happen tomorrow, seeing how the two teams have fared this season?
It's pretty straightforward. Manchester United will win. That's it. That's my take. That's it.
But are we gonna ignore the two teams that have met each other how many times this season and Tottenham had won in this time in the times that they've met in the league? I think Tottenham won Manchester United home and away, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't know where else they met. I'll have to check that up. And it's easy for you to just say Manchester United will win because we need to consider how they faced each other this season and which team has had the upper hand. And just saying Manchester United will win. Wow, that's a
Well,
strange
I
one.
mean, let's be honest, right? It's one of those things where you look at Spurs as a team. They've been through a lot this season, and defensively they've been so bad, and that's the only reason why they are where they are. Because they've scored as much goals as I think Newcastle, I think close to Man City as well. And you know that the problem they've had is the injuries they've had in defense. There was a period in time when literally their whole back line was out injured, and now they have everybody fit. I think that the problem that Tottenham have, and they've always had, is they don't know how to play in finals. They don't know how to win, matches when it really matters. And I feel the one time that they had the opportunity to do that was when they got to the final in the League Cup against Manchester City and they sacked Mourinho. I feel like he would have brought in that mindset, that winning mentality into the team. And they were like, no, the ancestral spirit holding them back was really strong. That season, like let's sack Mourinho and let's continue this sacrilegious behavior of not winning trophies. At least I know you're happy because I'm trolling your enemies. So let's just they're enemies. They're enemies for today. The irony of it is United have not been. So my point is Tottenham have not been bad because they're bad. They've been bad because Ange hasn't had the players that could give them the results that they've wanted for like they need, consistently. Man United have been bad because they're bad. And it's baffling to see because I've seen a lot of teams switch to a back three setup. Literally, I've seen AC Milan do it this season. They started getting a run of results when they switched to that back three setup. I saw Borussia Dortmund do it towards the end of the season. It propelled them to the top four in the Bundesliga. I've seen Napoli go in and out of that formation. It's not a formation. It's not a setup that should be difficult to understand. That's what really bothers me about this Manchester United team. And it makes me wonder how bad things have to be before things actually get better. Is it a case of that the players are just really, really poor? Or is it a case that the manager isn't communicating what he wants properly? We'll find out tomorrow, to be honest, because this is do or die. And I don't know what the hype is on the Tottenham side of things, but the build up at Man United has been really, really, crazy. There's been this whole build up since Saturday, videos coming out, players talking about the game, ex-players talking about it, and everyone saying what this and that. We know that this will not save our season. We know it won't. Ruben Amorim has come out and said that he would rather not qualify for the Champions League, even if he wins the Europa League. But let's be honest, we need the money. We need the money. I wish we could win, we could qualify for the Champions League and then just not have to play the 8 games in the group stage, and walk out. But it's going to be a very
Yeah.
interesting game. It's honestly, I've never been this anxious for a final in a very long time, and that's how bad I don't believe in this Manchester United team. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Honestly, that's really the best I can give you. I think Spurs are favorites just because they have the better setup. From the onset, from the beginning of the tournament, Spurs were favorites to win the tournament. Ironically, I think Man United were second or third favorite. I don't recall, but regardless of what it is, it's Man United against Spurs in the final. I would have preferred Bodø Glimt, but dead guys. So we'll take the Spurs. We won at Bilbao before the season, and I think there's no reason why we can't win at Bilbao again.
Well said. Well said. So I can understand the angle you're coming from when you look at heritage, when you look at teams that have won games in the final. In the context of these two teams, Manchester United and Tottenham Hotspur, the last time Tottenham Hotspur won any competition was in 2008, which is the Carabao Cup, and they've been to the
Mm.
Champions League final. They lost it. They've been to other finals, like you mentioned, even
The
the
League Cup.
what's
They've been to
the
League
League
Cup.
Cup,
I
which is
think
the
it's just,
Carabao
it's
Cup.
just two finals,
Yeah,
really, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah,
Just
two
probably, I think
finals
it's
really.
two finals, or two or three finals that they've been in the last since 2008. Yeah.
Since 2008. So if we're to look at that angle, using that logic, I think I'm going to agree with you. Because when it comes to final, Manchester United have done it. Even the Europa League, the last time they won it was in 2017, with Jose Mourinho being the manager. But I think looking at just one more question, just concerning this, Chimamaka, I'm going to come to you. But looking at this, I think you were in my head for you to have, in your monologue or while you were analyzing the final. Whose final is it to lose with regards to financial implication, entire landscape of the season, looking at both teams, looking at how they fared? Like I said in my introduction, the streets, the football streets calls them hideous twins because they are neck to neck in the league table. Whose game is it to lose? Looking at it financially, I know there's £100 million at stake. I don't know how true that is, but I saw that online. The winner takes £100 million,
Sorry,
and
he's
£100 million will do.
sorry, Chimamaka. Is it my network or no?
I
Am I back now? Am I back now?
Yeah, you're back.
Yes,
Yeah,
you're
now
back.
you're back. Now you're
You're
back.
back now.
If you're going to
Okay,
rephrase
great.
if you can rephrase the last few sentences you said
Yeah,
in
we
the
didn't hear.
Okay.
We didn't
So the
really.
question I just wanted, I just wanted to touch base on whose final is it to lose between Manchester United and Tottenham? Looking at the
it's both of
financial
them.
scape, looking at the financial looking at the financials, angle, and also the entire landscape of how the season has fared for both teams, because £100 million is a stake. The winner takes £100 million, and you know what £100 million can do. I don't know. Somebody can help me fact check this. The prize money for the Europa League final, is it £100 million? Before I say what I'm not supposed to say, but at least we
No,
know
I don't
what
think
that
it is.
money can do.
I don't think it
Okay,
is. I think
so
what they're factoring is
I'm going to fact.
the Champions League money that's
Okay,
coming in. The money that potentially could come from being in
okay.
the Champions League next season is what it is. That is probably around 100 million. But I don't. Winning the Europa League would
So
not
so
give you
technically
100
it's
million.
still no,
It's still
but
100 million
technically it's I'm
gain.
right, because if you win the Europa League, 100 million injection comes in financially, right? Maybe it was the way I put it, but thank you for
Mm,
correcting me there. So £100 million, come on, cash injection. You can do a lot. So as a Manchester
yeah.
United fan, I know you said you're tensed. You've never been tensed like this. But now let's put context to it financially and the entire landscape. For me, I know if Arsenal is not playing, we'll trend. If Arsenal is playing, we will trend. So imagine Tottenham winning it tomorrow. Yes, we're dead. I can bear I can bear I can bear Manchester United fans taunting us. I can bear that. But not Spurs fans, not Tottenham Hotspur. Not them. Not them really. But you being the Manchester United fan, just in a few minutes, just tell us what's the implication? Whose team who's gonna lose? As in whose final is it to lose come tomorrow?
Well, if I'll be answering that question, I will tell you it's nobody's final to lose. Neither is it anybody's final to win. The both teams have been literally shambolic this season in the league, and they, one way or the other, crawled their way into being in the Europa League final. Now, for Manchester United, they have bragging rights. I will tell you that they have bragging rights. They've won it before, and like I was about to say earlier, how the mighty has fallen. Now, if this is a medium for Manchester United to play in the Champions League through the back door, sitting on the number 16th spot in the English Premier League and playing in the Champions League, then there are so many things and so many questions to be asked. Now, for the question of whose final is it to lose, it's none of them's final to lose actually, because both teams in the Premier League, both teams want to play in the Champions League. It is who delivers the best that comes out victorious. Now, Manchester United are butlers, so are Spurs too as well.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
in the
okay.
league this
Wait, what did
season,
you got
I
to?
think I think
What did
Spurs
you got to?
have had an
What is this?
now I think Spurs have had an upper hand against Manchester
Yeah,
United this
let's
season.
let him land. He's a London brother to Tottenham, so we want to support his brother. Continue,
No, it's not.
Chimamaka.
It's not. When I even mean bottling, I mean bottling the full season. At some point, I think as far back as December, I think United had decided to actually play for the Europa League than fight for the Premier League. I saw that as this is not Manchester United actually,
But
and
I
if
don't
the
think
back
that's
door is
entirely.
the if the back door is
I
the
don't
only
think that's
way to
entirely.
get into Europe and it works for them, so be it. But I will also tell you it's not going to be an easy ride in the park for United
This
because
is
it has a thing with having to win at least a trophy in his second season in every competition he's played or every league he has played or every club he has coached actually. So I think that is
I
another
have a
thing.
problem with that, but we're still going to touch that. Continue, Chimamaka. We're still going
I
to touch
think
that.
that is another thing we have to look at. Now, I don't want to say they got into the Europa League finals by fluke, and I wouldn't say United also got there too by fluke. It was a whole lot of hard work put into play that got them in the finals. But if you ask me now who am I going to support to get the victory in the final, I will tell you, yeah, I'm a London supporter. I will I prefer to give it to Tottenham actually, if you ask me. Reason being that United need to go back and do better. They just need to go back and do better. They celebrated last season going into the qualifying to the Europa League with the FA Cup and they're in the finals. Good for them. Now they are sitting 16th on the table and are trying to use this medium to go into the Champions League. I'm sorry, I'm not a United fan, but I can tell you for free that no Manchester United faithful or a Manchester United great is happy with such turnaround of or with such turnout of events. 16th and looking forward to enter the Champions League by through the back door. Nah. I've watched United for too long to be able to see them this way. Nah. I think they need to go back. I believe they need to lose these finals to go back to the drawing board and get their acts right. Because if they win it, I can tell you for free, they will do nothing else with it. There will be no improvement. Forget they'll bring in new players. There will be no improvement both at the back room and even on the pitch of play because they feel they've qualified for the Champions League. But I think if they lose these finals, so many things will be put in play. So, in my opinion, I would prefer a Spurs who have an ancestral curse on their head with finals to actually win these finals so that United will go back to their drawing board and do something better with their lives instead of going through the back door to qualify for the Champions League. Now, money-wise, both teams need the money. United need the money to improve. Us needs the money to improve. I can tell you for free that Ange Postecoglou is not going to be renewing his contract, or he's not. I think he'll be leaving by the end of the season with Spurs. So they need to get a new manager, and I don't think they're going to get a manager who is jobless presently. They'll go and get somebody who is active, so they will have to buy out his contract and buy players that the manager would need. So Spurs also need the money. United needs the money. But me being a football fan, I would love Manchester United to lose these finals so they go back to their drawing board and get their act right. In the past 4 or 5 years, they've been shambolic. There's no how I want to paint it. Let's be frank with each other. We've loved United. They have been powerhouses. You listen to Patrice Evra talk about United. You listen to Wayne Rooney talk about United. And you look at now and you ask me, is it the same United these guys talk about? No. Look at United in 16th spot. As at last season, Chelsea was struggling to make the top five, or in fact, top eight. United was there dragging it with them, not knowing that less than 365 days later, they will be sitting in the 16th spot. Actually, I blame Spurs. I say Spurs. I blame Southampton. I blame Ipswich and Leicester for playing with the Premier League. They should have played better and allow United be struggling for relegation, so that we'll know that that they've actually lost it. But as it stands presently, I will tell you, for the love of football and for the love of the name Manchester United, I would love them to lose that final so that they go back to their drawing board and get their acts right. Else, we'll repeat the same thing next season.
Biola, I think you have a lot to unpack there because I see you
Bro,
smiling,
bro,
and you need to
bro,
rebuttal that, man.
bro. I don't even know where to start. Fucking hell. So I don't know if you're allowed to swear on this your podcast, but
It's
I
over 18.
apologize. Okay, here we go. What the actual fuck? First of all, Man United are butlers. It's ironic because Chelsea were literally title contenders up until like what, January, and then all of a sudden, Maresca was like, "Oh no, we're not there, we're not there." And there's a very high chance that Chelsea could be doing what Man United is doing this season next season. There's a very high chance that Chelsea could be using the Europa League to get into the Champions League next season. But let's
Nah,
not talk about that. Let's focus. Let's focus on Man United because next weekend, this weekend is coming, and then
hold on, I'll
we
cut
can
you there.
have that
When you see
conversation.
progress,
No, no, Chimamaka,
Yeah,
Chimamaka,
yeah.
Chimamaka. Please
I'm not.
allow
I'm not
Biola,
talking about Man United progressing now. I'm not talking about
allow
Man
Biola
United
to just
progressing. I'm
allow
not
him
talking
to
about Man
just
United progressing or not. The point is that I'm
react
not
to your
disputing the
statement.
fact that Man United have progressed, right? And I'm not disputing the fact that the team has been poorly managed since 2013. Let's face facts, right? Statistically speaking, Ruben Amorim is Man United's worst ever manager, ever. We're not even talking about in the last 5 years, we're not talking about the last 20 years, we're not talking about the last 70 years. Ruben Amorim, statistically speaking, in the league, is Man United's worst ever manager. Now, winning this Europa League, what does it do for the club? And I think that's where I feel, Chimamaka, you're contradicting yourself because the truth of the matter is winning the Europa League doesn't change anything for Man United. It doesn't. Being in the Champions League just means that we have more money to spend. It means that we can attract a few more quality players that could actually improve our season next season. So, for example, here's my opinion. I think Man United have a good chance of signing a striker like Victor Gyökeres if we were in the Champions League. He's the kind of striker that Man United actually need because you've seen the way he plays. Even a player like Osimhen, for example, you know how good Osimhen is. You know how much Osimhen would improve a team like Man United. His back to goal play, his ability to find the ball in the box, his ability to finish in any position. Osimhen is not going to think about joining Man United if they're not in the Champions League, if they can't offer the kind of money that he needs. So it's not about, oh, we are playing in the Champions League, we're back in Champions League, blah, blah, blah. Like I said earlier, even the coach has said it. He would rather win the trophy and not have to play in the Champions League next season. But you have to have those games. He wants to go back to the training ground and have time to train with the players, have time to just go one game a week and actually improve the team. So I agree with you that the team has regressed. But there are some things that are still, interesting to see. For example, in the last 3 seasons, Man United have been in 4 finals. That's including this one. They've won 2 of those 4, right? They could win one more tomorrow, right? I can argue that besides the league, United haven't actually been so bad, right? And it's ironic, right? This same bad United used this winning of the FA Cup last season to push Chelsea into the Conference League, right? So like I mean, anyway you look at it, it's not as if United are not bad. It's like the point is that there's a way of papering over the cracks. There's a way of still showing that there's still a competitive team once in a while. And look, I'm not making any excuses for the team. I think I agree with you. The team has been utter shit. Nobody expected Man United to finish 16th. Even when Ten Hag was sacked, no one thought, oh, it would be so bad that United would be 16th in the league. And if not for Ipswich, like you mentioned, Southampton, and even dare say Tottenham, because Tottenham are below us. It's like both teams are struggling to see who will finish below who this season. And I bet it will still finish the same way because Tottenham will probably still lose next weekend. Man United will probably still lose next weekend. But you see, the funny thing is, Man United winning the Europa League is just an opportunity to show that there is that bite in this team to win trophies. Because regardless of how you want to look at it, Man City are finishing trophyless this season. Real Madrid are finishing trophyless this season, right? And these are world-class teams. These are top teams. What do they have to show for their season? A lot of Arsenal fans would probably say, in the past 2 or 3 years, that they'd rather have what Man United are having than what they're having. Arsenal haven't won a trophy in what, 6 years? United have won 2 in 3 years. It will probably be 3 in 3 this year.
5 years.
And that's what football is about. You
5
see,
years.
you haven't won a trophy in 5 years. 5 years, fine, right? And we're going to win. If we win tomorrow, it's 3 consecutive trophies in 3 consecutive years. That is football heritage. That is a team that wants to still make their fans have something to talk about. Yes, the performance in the league has been abysmal, right? I can't even argue with that. But it's not like it has been so bad. 2 seasons ago, we finished in the top three. I think we're third, and we got into the Champions League. And then we got kicked out of the Champions League. That was last season. We got into the Champions League last season. We were in Champions League last season. We finished bottom of our group. Fine. Last season was very bad. We still managed to salvage it by winning the FA Cup and beating Man City. Nothing better than that for a Man United fan. Should they have sacked Ten Hag at that point in time? Maybe, maybe not. I think they should have kept him to the end of this season. But that's by the way. We got into this season. I think when Ten Hag was sacked, we were eighth or 8th or 13th. We were in some weird position. And it was like, it can't be worse than last season. It can't be worse than last season. And we saw ourselves slowly regress. Like, I don't disagree with you in a lot of things. If Man United played Crystal Palace 10 times this season, we'll lose 10 times. If we played Bournemouth 10 times this season, we'll probably lose 10 times. Teams like that, teams that work hard, teams that have grit. If our backs are not against the wall, we've never been able to perform. We've not won a league game in the last since January or something, or since February. Like our last 8 league games, we've not won. Like literally all our wins, practically since I think January this year or so, have come in the Europa League. But the point is that the players are adapting to a new style. I don't know if it's rocket science that they need to adapt for so long, right? I don't know what is so special about the style that the players have needed literally half a season and probably another half of a season to get it right. But I feel like one day next season, all of us will be here again and we'll be like, Man United are in top four. Wow, maybe not. And I mean, I'm just being optimistic. I'm being hopeful.
That's all I'm longing for. That's all I'm longing for. That is all I'm longing for. I'm not looking
and that's the
to.
thing.
That's all I'm longing
Yeah,
for. I'm just
and
speaking as a football lover, not
it
because
will
of.
be
I'm talking as a
a
football
step
lover.
in the right direction.
Everybody
It
probably
will be a
knows
step in the right
Manchester
direction
United.
because yes, it will be a step in the right direction because let's be honest. I don't want to be like Arsenal. What we'll be doing is we're in the top four. We're in the top four. We're in the top four. We need to be competitive, right? Everybody wants to be competitive. The only competitive teams in the Premier League for the past 2 or 3 years, in fact 4 years, have been Liverpool and Man City, right? And no other team in the Premier League has been competitive. Let's be honest. Everybody else is struggling for top four. Everyone else is struggling to just get into that Champions League and get the money and be able to try again next year.
Include Arsenal because of our host. Include Arsenal. So
Yes,
there's no
of course.
difference.
I said everybody. I said everybody. Except Liverpool and Man City. Except Liverpool and Man City. Everybody. No matter how you want to look at it, whether you're finishing 17th or you're finishing second,
Banter is
you know,
allowed.
you're not winning the league. You're not winning the league. You're not doing anything. That's the truth. You're not winning the league. You're not doing anything. Being in the Champions League is just nice because you get more money to be able to do something. It's a prestigious competition. But Champions League aside, what's the motivation to play for a team if you're not winning the league? So like I said, I mean, it's going to be a very long season next season. I mean, focusing on the game tomorrow, it's important that we win the competition, not because we want to play in the Champions League next season, but because we want to be in a position where we can say, we've won a trophy. Yes, it hasn't papered over the cracks. In fact, not even over the cracks. It hasn't papered over the abysmal performance that has occurred this season. But it's a step in the right direction in saying we have the finances to get the kinds of players that can improve Man United. I feel like if Man United win the Europa League tomorrow, the rumor mill will go into overdrive by Friday. Oh, Gyökeres is going to Man United. Oh, this guy is going to Man United. Oh, Florian Wirtz, who was never in the picture, is suddenly an option for Man United. The truth of the matter is, that's the truth because it's the money. It's the money, bro. Like if they don't win Europa League, then it's the the bottom barrel boys. What is going on? But like that's what I think it will be. And I'm really anxious for tomorrow. I'm not going to lie. It's probably the biggest final in my life as a Man United fan. But I'm really looking forward to it as well.
Okay.
Well, I've listened to both of you's analyses, and I agree to a certain degree that what Chimamaka is saying, Manchester United, where they are, isn't where they're supposed to be. And also, Biola, you saying that, Manchester United, they got the heritage, so why not? They can win it, and winning it can, spin a lot of things. But from an outside perspective, I know I'm not a Manchester United fan, but looking at Manchester United this season, it's not been rosy. Looking at how it played out, Eric Ten Hag and seeing Amorim coming into the Premiership, a different kettle of fish for him. Never managed the team in the Premiership, and even the team he left in the Portuguese league won the Liga, the Portuguese league, over the weekend, winning it, and making it third in a row, if I'm not mistaken, or actually they won it. But the point is, Manchester United, eye test, they've been poor. They've been poor. Even stats wise, they've been poor. I saw a tweet that the teams Manchester United has played since January up until May, taking out Ipswich, taking out, I don't know if they played Ipswich within this period, that
Yeah,
those
taking out
teams are the
Ipswich,
teams Manchester
Southampton,
United will taking out
and
Ipswich, taking
then
out Southampton,
and
taking out
then
Leicester
Leicester.
City.
Man United will be last
That these
in the
same
league.
teams, these same teams are the teams Manchester United will face come next season. So if you've been abysmal this season against this team that beats you and you were dropping points, what is the area of improvement? And I hear the
Mhm.
part Bella is saying that Champions League money can change a whole lot of things. That money being pumped in, that money being injected, if they go ahead to win the Europa League tomorrow. Fingers crossed, like I said before, as an Arsenal fan, I wouldn't want Tottenham to win that Europa League. Yes, I could take. We've been seeing a lot of videos from BR football hearing fans that if Manchester United win the Europa League, Arsenal is always the yardstick. Who has had the better season, Arsenal
Who has?
or Manchester
Who has?
United?